Okay, repeat after me. I state your name. You can go at the same time.
I, Jordan States,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
ex officio student board member.
ex officio student board member.
Okay, so you want to sit over here? You're on for tonight, and Billy, you can go back to your day. And thank you very much, and we'll see you next time, okay? Okay, do we have the need for an executive session? We do not. Okay. Correspondence, there is none. Policy discussion, there is none. Policies for first reading, there is none. Policies for second reading, there is none. That brings us right away to comments from the public. We're about to convene into the first of two opportunities for comments of the public. Each speaker will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes and the entire public comment period to a maximum of 30 minutes. This may be waived by the majority of vote of the board. The board requests that each speaker states their name, residency, and topic of discussion. By law, the board will not permit any public statements regarding individual students or employees. Please be advised that while the board takes public comment very seriously, we are not allowed to comment or respond during the meeting, as this is our opportunity here to hear from our stakeholders. Items brought to the attention of the board will be taken under consideration for future responses or action, or the proper staff member will get back to you at the appropriate time. Is there anybody who would like to speak at this time? Okay, commendations. Okay, Mrs. Prokop, Mrs. Whitaker, and Opportunities for Broome and the Early Eagles Program for organizing and holding the pre-K orientation night for our pre-K students. And I would like to also add, thank you to the Family Engagement Council for their input in helping us make that a more responsive to parent concern event. So thank you, and thank you to Lauren, who did a lot of work to try to really make sure that we were addressing the needs that families said that they felt. Whitney Point administrators, faculty, and staff for a successful welcome back night across all schools. And thank you to all the board members for being there and welcoming everybody. It was very well attended. I think that each year that we've done this, it's been better, especially at the high school, because historically when we had the old open house, hardly anybody ever came. So it's really nice to see so many people back and kids actually kind of excited to start the school year. So thank you for everybody who participated in that. Assistant Superintendent Ms. Kohler and the Whitney Point Central School District Leadership Team for providing support and information while implementing a successful Superintendent's Conference Day on September 2nd and September 3rd. And to Jeff Burkhart, Broome County Sheriff's Department SRO Supervisor, for presenting to the entire school district, administration, faculty, and staff during the Superintendent's Conference Days. And thanks and appreciation goes to Whitney Point administrators, faculty, staff, students, and families for a successful start to the whole 25-26 school year. Excellent. Old business, we have none. That brings us to Shannon. Yay!
All right, so originally, like in the agenda is the 25-26 page plan. That's the final product. Then I didn't realize Stacy had printed out the slide deck and just given it to all of you, which is completely fine. But the data is really hard to see, so I actually made data packets so that you can actually see this. I didn't know you were doing that, so my apologies. Great. 25-26 school year are starting. just like I said last year, we try to do backward design, where number one, we're gathering the data and the evidence. Two, we're reviewing or creating our district goals, which we had board members help us with. From the district goals, our buildings are they're gonna come up with their priorities based on those goals. And they'll create action plans with timelines and personnel indicated. And then we plan and prepare for those check-ins to see, are we making the growth? And then celebrate our successes. And I'm hoping that. Oh my God, you should like. All right, so how do we grow? We have to have a goal, we have to have data input. So I'm gonna start with. Everybody. I don't know how to do it as a major. Okay, so data imports. I'm gonna give you all the data. So you can have to look at it super small.
Thank you.
Okay, so last time, Chris, Stephanie and Tom, is it okay if I stand back here?
Absolutely.
So last time I presented on the PD plan, we talked about the exit survey that we give to employees when they leave. And this year I provided the responses to 7 of the questions. Do you feel Whitney Point provided you the tools you needed? Was the culture supportive? Satisfied with how you were managed? Did you feel comfortable talking to your supervisor? Did you have clear goals and objectives? Did you feel like a valuable member of the team? And did you receive helpful feedback on your job performance? And as you can see, most people are feeling like they're supported and that this is a place where you can really celebrate being an employee. I think it would be strange if it was mostly and always, right? Like data usually is not perfect one number one way. So I think it's a great representation. And a follow-up from last year, I even put in that there were 30 responses.
You want us to ask questions as you go through each one, Shannon, or would you rather us wait till the end?
The data is like a small part of the presentation, right?
Okay.
Because we want to talk about what the data says to us and what we're doing.
Okay.
So if you have data questions, let's ask them now. So that way we don't have to go back and forth. So that's the exit survey. I didn't really provide any other staff information, but staff is one of our imports, right? Like we have to know how staff feels in order to make sure that we've got the environment and culture for people to be successful. So then,
Can I ask a question? So I know the end was 30, but I'm feeling like question number 1, maybe only 18 people answered it.
they don't have to answer all of them.
So that's what I was gonna ask. So we just don't know how many were willing to answer each question, basically. So, okay, so but 30 people were asked to complete the survey is what it is. Okay.
Well, you can approximate because the.
Right, I can, that's
yeah,
what I'm
it's got the-
looking at, yeah, so.
So you
I'm
can
just,
see
like,
that,
Flying lines and trying to figure
it's
out.
like they're saying no comment.
Yeah, it's weird that first question has a really low
Mhm.
response rate. So that of all the questions would concern me, yes.
Well,
Thank
I'm
you.
wondering too, the way the question is worded, and I'm probably the one who worded it so poorly. Does it get to the heart and do people understand what you're asking when you say, do you feel they provided you the tools?
Yep, that's why I was looking at that.
So when I look at this data, I think we're ready for the next revision of the survey, right? So that we can clarify and get better information.
You
Go ahead,
have
Mike.
open-ended questions where, what would you do to improve?
The last 2, I think, are open-ended. But they were revealing like names and particular incidences, so.
Could you have redacted that just so we could see the generic stuff? I know we do that.
You do,
how-
well, that's
Okay,
up there, that's
okay.
all that data.
The second question is pretty close to the first question and almost everybody answered it. So it doesn't make sense. It seems like that they would answer the same way with the first one, if they were that high on the
Well,
second one.
I mean, this is obviously, I'm not reading their minds, but
Right.
um,
I would take-
I am aware who this cohort of 30 are, and some people maybe, I mean, some people just leave because they retired. Some people leave because the job was hard and maybe they didn't really have the specific skill set. So, and so the first one seemed to, the tools, I think that seemed to me a little bit more like, did you have the skill set? And did we
Gotcha.
give you the training and the support so that you had the skill set? The second one is more like, is it supportive? Is it a nurturing environment? Or is there a collegial feeling? So I would get, part of me feels like if it didn't work out for you, a lot of the time it was because, maybe it wasn't either in your wheelhouse or you weren't prepared enough or, but maybe we also didn't front load enough preparation for people.
And really, we want to look at individual respondents, we want to see what the trend is, right?
But the comment fields, we just didn't redact the information to give us a feeling for what their comments were. We didn't do that.
No,
Okay.
I didn't want to put out somebody's comments that they put in an exit survey without asking them, can I present them to the board?
Oh, well,
This
yeah,
way-
we still make them anonymous, but we redact all the personal information so we can see like, well, maybe this number one, yeah, no one ever told me exactly what I was supposed to do the first day, and I feel like it was a flop because of it. That might not be, somebody may have said that, but we don't need to know who said it. So, yeah, that's all I was wondering. Yep. Thank you.
And that's what I was looking at when we were talking about staff data. Obviously, there were lots of other staff inputs into our BD plan and how we move forward. One of the other inputs that we do is obviously students. So you were given the proficiency rates for 23-24. And just the proficiency rates for 24-25. And I feel like I should stop. Okay, nobody's asking anything, so.
Well, I do have a quick-
23, yeah,
On the 24-25, is that follow along where on the first one, blue is New York State, gold is Whitney Point?
you mean the color?
Yeah, but on the second one,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just one color, that's just us.
okay, that's what I,
Yeah, that's just us. I haven't seen comparison to the state and all that kind of stuff that I could put up there easily. But yeah, so the ones for 24-25 are just our data, but we can compare it to the proficiency from last year.
But we can all look at that as board members at the New York State data website.
It's not up there yet.
No, 23-24.
Yeah.
23-24.
That's why I included it.
Yeah.
I figured it was easy for people to get to if they want to look at. So I gave you 3-8 math, 3-8 English results. Grade 5 and 8 science results. And then I did give you the 23-24 separate one for each exam, but when we get to this year. I put all the exams together and then just gave you a proficiency rate for each one of the exams. So obviously, no test tells us exactly what a kid needs, right? Unless we're looking at their individual data, which our teachers will have access to so that they can make the best instructional plans possible. From the high view, the district, we're looking to see what are the trends, what's moving forward, how do we plan that in our PD? So when we look at this data, especially when looking at 23-24, we're higher than New York State proficiency on most things. So we're thinking that last year, with all the things that we did, well, 23-24, all the things that we did, those were our accomplishments. What are we going to change or do to move forward? Right? So our PLC teams, they get parts of this data. They tend to work with item analysis so that they can see the essential standards that they picked as instructors and as a team. Was that really on the test? How did we do? Was it a multiple choice? Was it a written response? Is that somewhere where we need to really put our energy and our effort? Our teams have been doing a great job of trying to dial down into something that you can use across grade levels so that we can kind of see if we're using the same speech rubric from K to 12, what kind of improvements are we seeing? Does it help us with our information and our data? Yes.
Sorry, I just. So you said we're higher, so are the colors reversed?
So this is just our proficiency. This is not a comparison to the state. Oh, yeah, on the
You
state.
said that we're doing better than the state, so I was looking at these and they're all, there's a couple that were.
Yeah, but if you look combined all over, so
I mean, that's the state and that's us.
yeah.
When you said that, I was looking at that and I was like, that's not,
Right.
none of it.
Yeah, the blue on the other thing, I think it's confusing at
I mean, on this.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Yeah,
that, and so
yeah.
you said that we're higher.
but here we're blue, so if you take that 49.1 and put it above
I
the
did
third
really
grade.
plan to give you the data way before this. My daughter got thrown from a horse on Thursday, so I couldn't get everything.
Oh, no, that's all right. I just
Done.
wanna.
Yeah, I'm just writing in the data so I can see it, that's all.
So if you look at the proficiency on all the regions levels, if you can see with the exception, so everything except for the entry level exams were above the state. Places where you can see concerns are algebra.
Okay, so we've already passed the math result for 3 through 8. That's
Yeah,
where I kinda
yeah.
stuck, because that's what I'm looking at, and they're all
Yeah.
below. Well, except for 8, except for regions 3.
And that's the
You know,
23.
but I'm just saying that that's,
So we're comparing that to the proficiency for this year.
So do you, I feel like let's pause and let's look at
Maybe
this a little bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for a minute, because I mean, I know,
So let's go through.
I like to look at them a little bit.
Mhm.
Because I was looking at one thing and then hearing it, I was like, that doesn't answer what something.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to like,
Yeah, so she
Draw
was
over.
way ahead in the screen behind you.
No, that's
Yeah.
all right.
And I know this sounds like something really nitpicky, but I just how my brain works.
I know you wanted me to change the color.
Mm-hmm.
Can't change the color in the state one. I need to change it on mine, and I could not figure the color button because I was gonna pick a Whitney point color.
And that's, but
Oh,
that's
yeah.
just how my brain is working. And so, but now I've got it so that I'm okay.
what's the difference between regents? What, I'm just kind of curious is why I'm like,
Which one are you on? I'll put it up. for
I'm on
everybody.
grades 3 through 8 mathematics. I was kind of
This year,
confused
we're-
why it's 23, 24, the regents B.
So
Eighth
It's
grade
region-
students
Okay.
take.
Oh,
a
if they
Regents
take
exam.
it, if they want to, that's right. Okay, thank you. I just think. So we have probably only had a couple students that were excelled and did it, probably. 'Cause
we have
we're
one class,
Right,
and so,
100% passed
and
that.
they're accelerated the whole
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
so they.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they're above the state.
So that would be the same for the 7th grade.
So 7th grade is the combined, but they all take the 7th grade exam. So you can see, and this to me sort of mirrors the high school. So if you look at, we have one class of accelerated students. They're flying along, they're doing great, right?
They're this one.
Then we look at and then we look at the other kids who are the majority actually of the 8th graders. And you compare them to the state, that's a concern.
Because those that split out in 8th grade are still in the groups
Yeah.
down there,
Mhm.
and there's still that number, so that.
Right.
And
And then you'll see the same thing, what I was starting to say before, at the high school level. In the upper level courses that are optional, like geometry and algebra 2 and physics.
You want me to pull one up?
Yeah, so that, where you were before, you'll see we do better than the state and most of the region, except for the super wealthy districts. But there's a big chunk of kids who are taking algebra, and in algebra, we are not. We're not where we need to be. So those are the things that we're, honing in on. Like, there's a population of kids who are doing just fine. And then there's a good population that we need to do better.
And so if I'm reading this stuff right, if I look at the 24-25 graph that Shannon supplied us, I can take these scores, the 49,
Just percentages, remember that.
right, percentages, but I can move those percentages over to this graph that she has for 23-24, where the district level is, and I can see that in third grade, 23-24, only 39% passed, where this last year we had 49.1.
And that's,
So by moving the numbers here, I can see the areas where the grade levels that we show, that we had growth, and the grade levels that we didn't see the growth yet.
which is almost in every group. So there's two ways to look at that. Like so you can look at the what I typically look is the cohort and
Okay,
watch
yep,
to see that they're progressing like they should.
Right.
And we have seen that, and we're gonna talk more about that. But then also just flatlining, how are fifth graders doing last year and how are fifth graders
Right.
doing this year? And they're, in almost every case, they're doing considerably
They are,
better.
they are. yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, and we're, like I said, we're gonna.
Yeah, I just
talk about that.
had to move the numbers here where I could see them, that's all.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sorry, I have one more.
Yeah, no, I'll send the data.
I just, no, I like data. This is something you can understand outside of the
Yeah.
academic realm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Numbers.
I know it's
One more?
been, yeah, I was gonna say that, I know, and it's been mentioned before, that also looking at. I know this is 2 years and I know COVID threw things off, but I mean. I always wanna see like where were we pre-COVID and where are we post-COVID, because. And I know that that's across the board, looking at the state, everybody's in the same boat, but I just wanna see. How close are we getting back to where we were pre-COVID? I know that threw a loop for a lot of people, but so like a longer
Mhm.
line
And like
where,
Joanne said this afternoon, to me, there was a time where a third of the school wasn't in attendance, so it definitely had an impact.
right, but I'm not, but pre-COVID, when everything was normal. And we're hoping to get back to normal, what is normal? So that's another thing in the back of my mind, like. How much do we have to get up to the state, but how far are we behind that we have to get back to normal where our baseline was pre-COVID?
Okay, week in my presentation next year, not
Okay.
only will I include N, but I'll do pre-COVID and then these three,
Yeah,
so that you can see the growth.
and I know I've mentioned a lot of years. About that for different presentations, so.
And I'm gonna show you there, we can pull up on the district, the regional dashboards
Yeah.
and see those charts. That will show you first all the way back
Get an
from
idea of
before.
where, because I know that it was big,
Mm-hmm.
but after a while, I'm sorry, after a while, it's like it's gone, it's a few years ago. Where are we now? Like, and I know it,
Mm-hmm.
that's back, but. That can't be like the fallback bailout. For the next 10 years, that, oh.
Definitely not, I mean, we're making so.
And I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying that with a lot of data. Not just here, everywhere, it's like, well, COVID, okay, COVID was a few years ago. And I know it set people back, but then
Yeah.
hopefully we're normal again.
We can create our own new
Okay.
normal, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're looking at all this data, let's, have the new
Yeah.
normal be everything starts at 50% proficient, and then we go above.
But I mean, looking at what we're shooting for, part of me is. Where were we before? Can we, like, that's one bench.
Those students and that, the way we.
How we
live
used to be
then.
where we were before, and then even moving, so there's like two things that I have in my mind that. This is great, I'm glad to see that we're moving that way, but where are these blue marks compared to the blue marks prior to COVID? Are they still way below?
Right, and I apologize, because your brain's looking at the blue mark like this, and my brain's inside of the blue mark going like this, where's the curriculum, who do we have to talk to? What's the professional development we have to provide, so I definitely want to give you what you need, and Joanne has lots of information that I think she's going to share.
Okay, no, but I just. I like to look at it because it gives. Data doesn't lie. It's just,
Our not tested has dropped a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there were,
we're still under the.
No, I try to like say, don't draw attention to it because then people remember they can do that and they all opt
Sorry.
out. Because we actually get in trouble for that too. You know, that's an accountability thing if you don't, if you have too many opt-outs.
That's what I was gonna say too, how the data's proven to do this,
Yeah.
just think about.
Any more questions on the data? I'm always too. I'll take more time. I'm gonna jump ahead if you don't want me to, just yell at me and I'll stop. So this part of the presentation is about what creates that PD plan. So we taken staff considerations, we taken student achievement considerations, we taken stakeholder input, right? We need, and we know, and we're mandated all of those three things, that the more voices at the table, the better the outcome. So we have opportunities, like before, we saw Chris and Aubrey come to our strategic planning meeting. I see lots of our community members on our school, community school events, family engagement events. We do give out parent surveys. And we do have that anonymous tip line where we do get other information from our stakeholders. It's relevant for that work. So the evidence from the employees, students, families, and community members is what creates the professional development plan. So you do have a copy of that. I'm not gonna read it word for word.
I may have that into one of our goals today. No idea. Oops.
So again, these are all the different kind of groups and people that we want voices from as we're making our decisions, our PD plan. We make sure that we get the best providers of that professional development that we can. There is a whole slew of people we have relationships with and have brought people in, including this year when Joanne brought in our speaker for AI. He's on here a little bit later. But that's a really great thing that as a small district, we have a huge set of professional providers who can give us the PD to meet the goals that we want. So summer, we did curriculum work. It's highlighted because that will continue all year. Teachers have set aside time with their PLC teams. And then we also have an opportunity to add additional work time as a team if they're working on their curriculum. We're going to get to curriculum in just a little bit. We have BOCES coaching as well. 2 math coaches who have been working with our teachers on Eureka Squared, which is our brand new math curriculum. It's going to go K6. We're moving it up to 6 this year. And we're really excited about how the teachers have taken it on and are super interested in what they're doing with the students. And I had to laugh this afternoon. I was in the CEA like around 2:20. And I passed like 3 classrooms and we're all doing math. And every time a kid shouted out a math answer, and I was like, I don't know if it's just great or what, but they are really enjoying the curriculum, even though it was difficult to get into to start with, right? Doing things all over differently. So we have lots of different opportunities that are built in. We also have Val Priskett back on our campus helping with literacy. She does mainly K4, but she does help us out at the secondary level as well. And then we have Gracie Schrager for numeracy to help us in our math. So we're trying to provide all of the supports that we can for our staff so that we can reach our goals. So goal number 1 By June of 2025, we will clarify and align systems to structures to increase efficiency, improve morale, and enhance communication. We're already thinking about what's going to detract us from that, what's going to allow us to move forward with that. Second goal, by June of 2025, we'll reduce the rate of chronic absenteeism by 5 percentage points. Goal number 3, by June of 2025, we will increase the percentage of students meeting or exceeding proficiency on math and ELA assessments. Goal 4, by June of 2025, we will expand and ensure equitable access to extensions and enrichment experiences for all students.
Well, 26.
Goal number 5, by June of 2025, we will increase the graduation rate by 5 percentage points.
So those are all 26s, not 25s, right, Shannon?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I was just making sure these
like,
past years.
There's this 25 right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in June, it won't still be 2026.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yes, I will fix that. Thank you. I've showed this to a lot of people and you're the first person who said it to me, so I really appreciate it.
Casey said it too, didn't? Who else said it? Somebody else said it in the room. I wasn't the only one.
But I'm glad that you said it out loud. So we look at our data inputs, we create our goals, we provide the development that our teachers and staff need in order to meet those goals. We started a journey. We had massive upheaval in 2020. Next year, I'm going to put some stuff before 2020. Then in year 1, we started our PLC journey, professional learning communities. We created the teams. There were teams already in process. This was really, how do we make what you're doing better? How do we function in a way that can get us the results we're asking for? We did year 2 in PLC. We did year 3 in PLC. When we launched You Fly, Fish Tank, Eureka Math Squared at K5. And if you were an elementary school teacher, we sent you a lot of love. That was a lot. But one of the things that Joanne talked about when we were choosing curriculum was there has to be an option where if you're overwhelmed, you can still clearly move forward in the curriculum. And then when you're feeling comfortable, you can start making some of those professional decisions about where am I going to put enrichment? Where do I need an extension? So now we're on this year. We had our administrative meeting in the summer and come together and what are we going to do? We are continuing the recurring standard formative assessment, data review, instructional changes cycle. So this is what we're hoping all of the teaching ends up looking like. So you have the standard. I know what I have to teach them. How do I know they know it? That's our question number 2. With the data, and then what will I do for those who know it and those who don't know it? We have the 4 critical questions from PLCs, which is, I just did 1, what do we want them to know? 2, how do we know they know it? 3, what do we do if they don't know it? 4, what do we do if they do know it? And then the 3 big ideas, collaboration, focusing on results. And of course, the 3rd one is skipping my mind right now. If anybody knows in the back, just shout it out. Some of our outside PD during this school year. We did have Dr. James Pedisari come and speak about AI from Binghamton University. He talked with the admin team by themselves, which was really interesting and allowed us to ask them questions. And then they spoke to the entire district. Math, again, we have our coaching that's being provided by BOCES, and that will continue throughout the year. We have literacy intervention, especially in our 4-8 section, because we are part of a RISE grant, which we've talked about before, where the region is trying to create a regional intervention system. Staff wellness. We're going to bring in Jennifer Wegman from Binghamton University on October 10th to be able to kind of talk about what are the things that we need to do to help everybody grab that energy and restore faith that we can do this. And then we're continuing our work with Sweethearts and Heroes. They came and did presentations in every building, but the focus we're doing now are the student circles. I don't have a good definition for what the student circle is, but putting them into place creates the culture where kids feel empathy, they feel heard, all of those things. You can do it.
I can do it. Yeah.
Yes.
Last year when the Sweetheart and Heroes came, they actually invited me to one of the student circles. And the one guy, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he was there, and he had us all go around and like share stories of our childhood, or like just fond memories, like who our superheroes would be, or if we could like travel back to the past or to the future, where would we go? And it was all just, and it was like when he started, it was like a fight club kind of thing. So what happens in the circle stays in the circle.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of breaking that rule, I guess.
Well, but you didn't share any
That's a Las
specific.
Vegas rule that everybody breaks too.
You didn't share any specifics, so. That's
Yeah.
really cool. And when you were done with the circle, do you think it was starting to do what I was suggesting the purpose was, build empathy and allow?
Yeah, it was a good experience. Everybody was like, it was fun to learn, and like it was fun to learn about everybody. And it was also like an emotional experience. Like some people, we were like sharing deep stories. Like some people were crying and,
Mhm.
you know, really letting it out. So it was nice, you know, it helped you learn more about people and build some empathy for the people.
Yes, and I will say at the secondary level, they do get more emotionally intense. But we do have some middle schoolers who are training with Sweethearts and Heroes who have gone over to the CEA. We piloted it during the summer enrichment program to start to run some circles. And so we have students leading students. And that was really developed by Kim Becker and part of the Student Success Center at the TRA and the high school. So I definitely have to give them props. We're going to have a great year. We have so many things going in the right direction. I'm really grateful I work here. If you have questions, let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice having somebody do a presentation where they're so enthusiastic about it.
I like the new Eagle picture.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, oh, yeah, it was the drone one.
That's awesome.
And you put new pictures up on the website too. Did they do them with a drone too?
Mhm. They look
Yeah.
nice, don't they?
They do,
Yeah.
very nice. Yeah, if you guys haven't looked at the new website, but you can look at it.
Prop Katie Fulham for that, together, yeah. Tell
Yeah,
us where,
Katie-
where, you know, stand.
When I
and,
said it on the first day that we were gonna do this, and she wrote to me that night, she goes, maybe you might need a little help. Right, she whipped this into shape and,
Well, she had just finished banking.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
you know.
We had to do that in high school. We had to do halftime shows. Like, you know, we had to actually.
Mhm.
I like that.
Yeah, I remember doing that too.
Well, I will say later, team, I developed some Bold Girls and boy, did it hit this one perfect. So we'll see them later.
Okay. That brings us to our consent agenda. May I have a motion?
Come over.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michelle.
Can I just take a second, Steph? Does our ex officio get to be part of the voting process?
no.
No.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that she understood. Thanks. Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, new business. We have a bunch of appointments. Alexis Baxter, full-time teacher's aide, effective September 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Benny. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Four-year probationary appointment of Caitlin Burchak Cron, elementary teacher in the elementary teacher tenure area, effective September 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved with greatness.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Molly.
Good to have her back.
Any questions or comments?
She was gone for a year, but she's back and we're very happy.
Yes.
The grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Appointment of Jackie Gordon, full-time teacher's aide, effective September 1st, 2025. May I have a motion? Thank you, Molly. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Questions or comments?
You can see that there are some resignations here and we've had some through the summer, so these
Yeah.
are to replace.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? The appointment of Summer Green, term substitute special education teacher effective for the first term of 2025-2026. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. And a second? Thank you, Benny. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Probationary appointment of Sierra Haas, registered nurse, professional nurse, effective September 29th, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michelle. Any questions?
She's working and they are holding her until that date. We have substitutes in currently.
So she's working someplace else.
Yes,
and
at another
has been
school.
engaged,
Mhm.
had to give them and all this.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, I kind of can't blame them because now they have to
Right.
replace a nurse and.
Yeah.
you know. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Appointment of Amanda Mills, bus monitor, effective September 1st. May I have a motion?
So
Thank you, Benny. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Appointment of Christopher Petrosky, full-time teacher's aide, effective September 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
Moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Aubrey. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Appointment of Amber Smith, full-time teacher's aide, effective September 1st. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. That was you, Molly, correct?
Mhm.
Thank you. And a second?
second.
Thank you, Benny. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? The appointment of Paige Warfield, temporary Stronger Connections grant-funded position, student success counselor, effective September 1st, 2025. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
I got Tom. And it just say woo-hoo.
We're very lucky. Yeah.
I saw this.
Saw that, I was like, ooh,
Oh, wait.
long way out and back. Oh.
Yep. He's been kind of mulling it over and every year it was just, no, not ready yet. So this must have been a strong enough pull to get her back.
Well, no, she was coming back.
Oh,
We
had
had
you
had
already?
something else lined up that at the last minute didn't work out. And then we had this opening,
Okay.
which unfortunately is just a grant funded position,
Right.
but it was like good fortune for us that
Because we lost the other
Mhm.
person, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness.
that's what's hard about grant funded, because if they can get a job that's not time
I would-
limited. Yeah.
Yeah.
Permanent
Really?
versus grant? Yeah, go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? And the 4-year probationary appointment of Vita Tooby, special education teacher in the special education teacher tenure area, effective September 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Benny. Another woo-hoo.
So she's worked from a teacher aide to
Mhm.
teaching assistant
Yeah.
to, and now she just got her certification came through.
I
So
was gonna say she must have passed her exams
She
in the
did.
spring, so.
Mhm. She's fully certified.
Yay.
Good for her.
You should just accentuate it's woo-hoo, because it sounded a little bit like boo-hoo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, and I know what you're saying, but it's like, just to click.
No,
Okay.
yeah, no, it is definitely a woo-hoo.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, thank you,
A little
Tom.
more accent on each of the first parts.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, transfer of positions. Shelley Sherman from full-time cleaner to part-time cleaner and Keith Ward from part-time cleaner to full-time cleaner. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. And a second,
Michelle.
Michelle?
Mhm.
Any questions or comments? All those, sorry.
We try to work with people's lives and what works with it for them and.
Worked out. It's
Mhm.
good.
I'm sure they appreciate it and
Mhm.
I appreciate that that's done too. So,
Yep, absolutely. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Generous donation of school supplies, 460 notebooks, 225 composition notebooks, 95 boxes of colored pencils, 95 boxes of crayons, 642 pencils, 262 pens, 400 pocket folders, 24 bottles and sticks of glue. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Benny.
And I'm sure hoping they just had boxes of pencils and added them up.
Is this an anonymous?
Anonymous.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What she said, donation?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
thank you to whoever the
Yeah,
anonymous.
very
was.
much appreciated.
yeah,
Very much.
because while a lot of students get help at the beginning of the year, this gives supplies to
Mhm.
move on with. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
So even if it's anonymous and they're not listening to us, can we still send them a card from the, okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay, comes one of my favorite things, seeker. Resolution of the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District regarding a state environmental quality review act. Determination for the proposed project. At the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District, Broome County, New York, held at 10 Kybel Road, Whitney Point, New York at 6 p.m. on the 9th day of September 2025. Whereas the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District Board is proposing to undertake a $100,000 capital outlay project consisting of construction and renovations, including incidentals and expenses relating to select masonry restoration at the TF Neoga Riverside Academy, the project. And whereas the board wishes to fully comply with its obligations under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, and the regulations thereunder with respect to the proposed action. And whereas the board has carefully considered the nature and scope of the proposed action. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District, Broome County, New York as follows. Section 1, the proposed action involves construction and renovations, including incidentals and expenses relating to select security access control door hardware and related systems at the TF Neoga Riverside Academy. Section 2, the Board of Education hereby declares itself lead agency pursuant to SEQR. Section 3, the review will not be a coordinated review. Section 4, the proposed project represents the replacement, rehabilitation, or reconstruction of a structure or facility in kind on the same site within the meaning of Section 6 NYCRR 617.5 C2 and/or represents routine activities of educational institutions, including expansion of existing facilities by less than 10,000 square feet of gross floor area within the meaning of 6 NYCRR 617.5 C11. The proposed action is a type 2 action within the meaning of the 6 NYCRR 617.5 and is therefore not subject to review under SEQR and the regulations thereunder. Resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. May I have a motion? Thank you, Betty. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Chris. I did have one question about this. In the top part, it says relating to select masonry restoration.
Yep, I was gonna propose, that should be changed in section 1 where it says. Select, instead of security access control door hardware and related systems, it should be masonry restoration.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep, so
Betty and Chris, are you both okay with the
Yes.
amended?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
Any other questions?
And again, these are required by the state for any type of capital project. This capital project was built into the 25-26 budget. We basically can go out for $100,000 project. It's about $85,000 of real work because there's architect fees. But you do it, and then again, we get 98% back the following year. So really, you know, we're spending $100,000 up front, where you get 98,000 back on the project. We try to pick things that, you know, we like the things that are, you know, prettier and people like, you know, that are fun. But sometimes, like, again, this for masonry repair, it's stuff we couldn't absorb in our normal budget for like maintenance. So, you know, it's a little bit of a boringer project this year. It's very needed, and, you know, that does go a long way to preserve the brick.
By doing projects like this, it means that we can keep the buildings up and running.
Yep.
Right.
And to code.
Yeah, and you know, again, they require the secret resolution. I've only ever seen them be the type 2 designation. Even when we did the turf field, it was a type 2. So it has to be like a very major, impactful thing involving fuel stations and all this other stuff to be a type 1.
Or that you're gonna fill in a marsh area.
Yeah, or cemetery, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they get real picky about that stuff.
Yeah. You don't want much of this.
No.
Or cemetery.
Whitney Point.
Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We are getting rid of some big items at the October 4th Mel Manassi and Son Auctioneers. 1, 2, 3, 4 large buses, a sports bus, a sander hopper salt spreader, and a utility trailer. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Molly. And a second?
Second.
Aubrey? Any questions or comments?
I just would like to point out that the 4 large buses this year are actually the last of our propane buses. We have removed the propane fueling station from our property. Again, they started out, you know, a lot of hype. They're super quiet to operate, and the fuel was cheaper. But again, we had about 7 at one point, and one of those 7 went through 4 engines. So again, we decided, you know, about 8 years ago to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just letting you guys know, those are the last of the propane.
We're waiting for the next type of electric.
I'm telling you. Put your stock in extension cord companies now. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Superintendent's update.
Just become Sparky the Spark Plug. Used to be on the Vestal Parkway and run out. Do your job.
Yep.
See, I'm too old.
I do understand what you're
Sparky's in my-
Nobody else does.
saying.
but-
We're old, Tom.
Yeah. Gratefully and thankfully so.
So I'm gonna give just a couple of things. This, you can just pass those around and you can pass these around. These are so that you know a little bit about this. You may know, you may have seen that the governor had said that all schools in New York State need to submit an attestation that they are using evidence-based practices and literacy instruction by this September. So we just had to do that and do the attestation. And I thought it was just a good time to pause and share some information. I mean, you may know, you know, when they talk about the science of reading, you may know what that means. I just gave you a little bit of information just so you can have some talking points if somebody asks you. But then on the other, this is a handout that just sort of walks you through what we have done. As you know, not again to blame everything on the pandemic, because Tom, I am gonna try and pull something up here to show you. And some of you know that well before the pandemic, our scores were not good. And I would like to thank you for giving me, not that I ever was seeking this job, but the power to be able to make some changes that needed to happen. So,
I'll just jump in. I appreciate that
Yeah.
some changes were made. I know stuff had been mentioned for a while. There was some movement in some areas and not in others, and so thank you.
Yep. So, but it caused a lot of people to work very hard. And so, and thankfully, we have had Val, who is full of energy and up for the fight. And she, led our faculty, through all of these changes and really spent a ton of time making sure that teachers had a really good understanding of what needed to happen and not just, get involved, just not just do it, but understand what was behind it. And so, and she's phenomenal. And we're very thankful that she's back. She's been working with us the whole time, but
Right,
it's nice to have her.
As opposed to.
Yeah. Right. So, if you look, March 2020, just to remind you, we shut down. 2021 was a mess of a year. We had a third of our kids, depending on the grade level, sometimes more than that, completely virtual. Everybody did the best they could. In addition to all, kids were sent out for weeks at a time. I mean, it was just mayhem. 21, 22, there was still a lot of that. And then we had a lot of upheaval here. We had the whole mask, it was a really difficult year for us also. So then, not surprisingly, our data was terrible, even more than it had been before. So that was the moment when we started to be able to enter 22, 23 with more normalcy. All that pandemic stuff was behind us. And we started to look for what would be the best place for us to start. And we went through, with Val's work with the staff, really trying to build understandings and then choosing together what would be the best curriculum to start with. And we started with just explicit phonics instruction, which is UFly, which we use, is out of the University of Florida. A lot of schools now in the area have started to use that also. And that's where we started. And then the following year in 23, 24, so we piloted UFly and then we implemented it in the next year fully. And then in 23, 24, you can see that there were these phase-ins of, all the different areas. So we piloted in the following year, explicit phonemic awareness curriculum for pre-K to get going right in the beginning. And then by the end of that year, they were implementing that fully. We fully implemented UFly in 23, 24, and then we piloted something called Fish Tank. And there's on the following pages, there's information about what those curriculum are. There's different pieces to the puzzle. And for reading instruction, you need to learn the code so that you understand what the letters mean, what they represent. But then you also have to be able to make meaning, and we have to work on building knowledge so that once kids can sound out words, they have something to match that to a knowledge base. So that's what Fish Tank does a lot of. So we then also piloted Eureka Math, because while historically our math scores were better, we had also sort of we had a lot of staff changes that we had, and nothing against elementary teachers, but there are some elementary teachers that go into elementary ed with a strong math background and some people don't. So we had at one point been, working really consistently across grade levels, and had gotten very loosey-goosey. So we piloted Eureka Squared, and then eventually we've implemented that across the board. We also added evidence-based interventions in reading, because even though we were providing interventions, we were sort of using the same tools that we were using that maybe weren't as effective as they needed to be in the classroom to begin with. So we made changes and then each year we've gotten farther and farther through all areas of the curriculum and then up through the grades, and you can see there. And then just so you can, you can see on the following pages, it's a little bit of an explanation as to what all those things are.
Thank you for including those,
Okay.
because I knew some of them, but not all of them.
And then I can give you a ton more information if you're interested in that, but you should certainly know what's happening in those areas. And then another area that we have been working on, we already had become aware that there were some patterns within the world of special ed services that we were realizing that we needed to just do some work on. I have I'm gonna just pass this around. This is like, this has a lot of, these are some work that I did with secondary special ed, but within it, there's a lot of terminology and a lot of things about what's required through regulation and law. And I can go into any of that you would like me to at some point, but we did that with all of our special ed teachers, because this is another area where we had a lot of turnover. We had a lot of places where we had people who were not certified. So we needed to do some level setting there, and then work on making sure that we were doing things like honoring restrictive environment, making sure that we had our special ed teachers and gen ed teachers really working together in a meaningful way to make sure that we were giving kids paths to accelerate and exposure to grade level work, and also providing them the supports and scaffolds that they needed. So we have been starting to do that work, and then thank you, New York State. They took notice of us, and they are now saying, yes, you do need to do that work. So starting this summer, we're getting support. We had already arranged some things, so we sort of worked with the state, and they're letting us like sort of divide and conquer. So we had already worked with Binghamton University, and they're having some people who work in the special ed department there and train special ed teachers come and work with our teachers in the CEA. And then the state people are going to work with us in the TRA in the high school. And you guys weren't there for the second day, but I talked to the whole staff about what that's going to look like. Trying to make sure that because nobody likes accountability, nobody likes when the state comes in, but to really, for us to all know that we all want to do better for all of our students, but we want to do better for our students with IEPs. The areas that we are noted in accountability for are our performance of students with disabilities on the 3 through 8 tests, our graduation and dropout rates with diplomas, and honoring LRE, which means that we have too many students being recommended in the more restrictive environment, like a special class. So, which are things that we all knew anyway, that we were already trying to work on. The people in the room have done a lot of work in the buildings also to try and get people to think about things. I mean, this is a little bit of the world according to me, and I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, but I think that sometimes we want to take care of kids. And we framed providing supports as doing that, taking care of them, instead of trying to realize that we need to build capacity in kids. And things like having an adult next to you all day long. You see yourself then as needing an adult right next to you all day long to do anything. So we have to be very, careful when we do that, not just because of regulation and law, but also because we have to think about what our goal is with our kids, whether they have an IEP or not, so just wanted you to know that we're working on those areas and that we're trying to stay really positive about the work with the state. If they're presenting it as support and not like punitive. And so we're going to try and really kind of leverage that and make sure that we're really up in our game here and doing better for
I just would like to add one quick comment. I know you have a strong background in this,
Yeah.
so that's good for us. And I know some schools have gone the other direction and they're trying to share aids with students with special, and it's like, I'd rather, if we're gonna err, I'd rather have an over compassionate than a very cold. You're both gonna share this one, and hopefully one of you doesn't run off and you're.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, we have got a lot of.
No, I'm just saying though, that
Yeah.
there's other districts that are trying to.
Yeah.
They're trying to navigate as well as they can, but they're not necessarily, I don't think, doing it their correct way. So
Yeah, I don't think that we're in danger of that, but I
No.
appreciate the caution.
no, I'm saying we tend to do
Yeah.
the better,
Mhm.
maybe over
Yeah.
protecting. And I said that there's schools that do under.
Yeah.
I'd rather do over if we're wrong.
Right. And yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, we work very hard. Because there's a lot of places where people don't give kids what they're supposed to and in all sorts of ways. And that's certainly not the case here.
Nope.
But it's really important to be really conscious of the fact that, when you take a child away from their peers,
Mhm.
And put them in a class with, you know, kids of different ages, and that's a really significant thing to do. And you've really changed the trajectory for that child. So to think long and hard before we do that and try to provide the supports and the scaffolds with their age peers, you know, to try and, you know, for example, if somebody has a learning disability in reading specifically, it doesn't mean they can't understand conceptually all of the things that are happening in the classroom. And it doesn't mean that we also shouldn't be trying to still build their reading skills. So you can support and take care of while also challenging, you know?
Yep.
So you do that, we do that to approach it lovingly, but, you know, making sure that we're honoring the fact that every student can be successful and every student can learn and every student can do hard things. You know, and that's
They
what makes
just
us
do
stronger.
hard
things,
things.
everybody,
Yeah.
not about our.
Or they might need for support, but
It's
yeah,
about our abilities, not our
Could you
disabilities.
send this one out because there are a
Sure.
couple of parts that,
they're small.
Hard to read.
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So Joanne, are we considered a focus school for
No.
the category? No. Okay.
and it's just, we're in need of support is
Need
what
of
they're
support,
calling it.
okay.
And so, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. And I do want to say this, that, even though, I mean, let's put it this way, I had a reflection and a student said, it was so amazing to see other children making space for children who needed a different place to sit. So we're also teaching the other children empathy and
Mhm.
support of other children, and I think that is also important.
Yeah, I agree.
So I just want to say that that was recognized by more than one of my students already.
Good. I also wanted to show you that, and we can maybe spend more time at another time, but there is a public site where you can go on and I can maybe we could do a little tutorial at some point, but you can see this chart shows you the proficiency rates for all the years, and it does go back, you know, far. And there's always, because some years we had big opt-outs, and so it's not, you know, representative of the entire, it's always a little skewed, but I can show you all of that.
Which one
And you
is
can,
that one?
this is the, if you go to the
NYS
BT,
data, is it?
this is our BT BOCES.
BOCES.
If you go to the website, and then there's something called SRIC, SRIC, there's a sub menu, and then there's these data dashboards, and they're open to the public. And you can do multi-year searches, you can compare to all sorts of districts. In our region, you can compare to the state. I mean, I almost feel like we can have like a little mini workshop on that.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
gonna suggest. Could we
Mhm.
do like one of our half hour before a
Yeah.
meeting workshop?
Yeah,
On that?
and it might be, and then we can do it together, so you can.
So is it more specific to our area where NYSDA does all the school districts?
Yes, but but it also will compare to the state,
Okay,
and it'll compare to the RIC, which is 50 districts. So yeah.
thanks.
Okay.
Next meeting, we will be having an audit committee meeting at 5:30.
Okay, well, I didn't say it had to be at our next meeting,
It'll be fun.
and the audit committee consists of.
Always.
They do a good job, though. They just keep us on.
Okay, that brings us to our second opportunity for comments from the public. I'm not going to reread everything because I think you all heard it the first time. But is there anybody who would like to speak up at this time? Have to admit, I'm humming the Jeopardy theme in my head, so. Okay, Board of Education comments. I'm just gonna say something really quick. Is one of these for me or?
Yep.
Okay. I'll leave one more then, I think.
Tracy wants one.
Oh, yeah. I had a lot of fun doing the open house,
Welcome back.
welcome back.
Mhm.
It's not an open house. I hope you guys all did too. It was fun to see a lot of students, and some of which were like coming in. And some of which were just bounding, I mean, even in the high school, that we were excited to be going in and seeing stuff. So thank you very much for including us in that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm really glad that you like doing that because I think it's nice.
Well, I gave out lots of pens. A lot of the handouts, I convinced people to take them to look at them later because they were all focused on getting inside and especially at the high school because there were specific meetings and whatnot, but thank you.
Agreed.
Well, I just gotta say that last 2 years we were inside and we were in all the movement, and this year we were outside, so we didn't have as much or as much visiting of our station because the line that went in went the other way.
I was outside, but I just, in fact, Joanne thought my table wasn't being taken care of.
No, I
Yeah,
thought it
she
was,
came over, she's like.
no, she was working the crowd.
I was out in the crowd handing stuff out.
No.
Whereas I was in the position where nobody could go in the door without going past me.
I was almost there, but I was up in the crowd.
Yeah.
So for next year, if you can think of a better, where you want to be, just tell us where you want to be.
Okay.
The Bahamas.
And I do also have to say that one of my employees was tabling over at the Adams School and we were able to give out 3 boxes of books that had been reading
Yeah,
from.
they were
They
ahead.
like the books, yeah.
So tell kids, I have more at the
Oh.
library, and if they would like to look through what we have for free books, please tell them to come see me because I need to get them out of my back room.
And I do want to say, I think I have insight that I never realized. Lauren was standing beside me, maybe. Aaron went in to get the broom to do the popcorn pickup, but the wind started blowing it away, and I said, poor Inger, it's out here, the seagulls will have the rest anyhow, and sure enough, the seagulls have came. We have seagulls. Yep. Okay. That it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have 2 things. I had my calendar all wrong and I thought board meeting was next week, which I wasn't gonna be here, and I'd have this week to make all these things, but so I did get at least a draft done. So I did change, and I mean, you folks can take them home and look at them and read them. They need to be edited for sure. So maybe if you have some comments and feedback, I can send you, Stacy, a Word document so that you can have it and just type in it if you want to, but I know that in discussion, we all talked about possibly down to 4 goals instead of 5 goals. So I did do that. I tried to combine a couple of them with our Whitney Point School District goals. So you'll see goal 1, I sort of combined with Whitney Point goal number 3, which was to sort of look at the data sets, exactly what Shannon did tonight and what Joanne has done tonight. So I just moved them together sort of and made a process where we could see these reports that they're giving to us. And we can actually show evidence that that's happening. Goal 2, I stuck with our process of making sure our board is on task with open meeting laws, especially bringing on our new student representatives. I wanted to make sure that we all were able to do that. And then I just tweaked it a little bit, not a whole lot, and that sort of matches our standard 2 that is in our system. Goal 3, this one might need more tweaking, but I tried to help us look at how we are going to include our student voice by looking at the state guidelines that we were given. One thing that it kept telling me to do was let the ex officio student have the first voice in every discussion. I thought that would be really uncomfortable. Do you want to be first all the time? So I can't see that it's highlighted, but I'm pretty sure we need to change that. But just look through it. I looked through the handbook that we were given, tried to pick out some ways that we could make sure that we're letting our student voice be heard. And again, we just need to read through this and see if it's something we want to do. I did like the thing that they suggested at the end to try to do some kind of focus group or something to see if students felt like their voices being heard and we're doing what we need to do. So again, take a look at it. It's a little bit different than your SMART goal. It's got action steps. Yeah.
That, so.
Mhm. Yeah, make a specific, it said to make a specific spot for them to have a report. Yep. Yeah, so, and then the last one, I worked on the absenteeism, again, matching one of our board goals. For us to really just help the school district to show, which we already did, thank you to, oh boy, I'm not forgetting your last name. Olivia, yes, Driscoll, though, right?
No, Dennison.
Dennison, I wanted to. Yeah, so Olivia and I partnered up and we created that first flyer, so it was really a great combination, but as the board being part of trying to help the community know that we believe that students should be attending and attendance is important to us. So I've drafted these so that we can look at them. Again, I'll send the working document to Joanne and Stacy and whoever else needs it, and we can go out and people can then look at them and we can hopefully we need to finalize them so that we can start collecting our evidence. So, and for our ex officio student, we as a board are required to do board goals every year. We're required to evaluate ourselves and make sure we're on task as a board, and this is part of that process.
And just one thing I want to bring up for you, Jordan, is that anytime we are discussing something and you do not understand it, speak up,
Absolutely.
okay? You know, when I'm serious when I say after everything, you know, any questions or comments, ask, because if you don't know, there might be somebody else who doesn't know. Michelle is new on the board. But just feel free to speak up anytime.
I was actually gonna say about two, it specifically mentions adherence to the open meeting laws, and I don't really know what the open meeting laws are, so.
Yep.
And I also mentioned that, if she could have like a little notepad and then she could say all the things that she has questions about that maybe it wasn't a discussion item, but
Right.
we can talk about afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the basics of open meeting law is that all of our discussions have to be open to the public, with the exception of things that come under the executive session rule, which are things that have to do with specific personnel and things like that, that have to be kept confidential. So we can't start emailing each other and discussing something. Joanne can send out information to us to impart the information to us, but there can't be any back and forth on the emails because then we're not having the discussion in public. It's also that anybody can come into our meeting to listen, except for, again, executive session, because there does have to be some confidentiality in there. And one big thing to remember, which a lot of people don't realize, is that a school board meeting is a meeting in public. It is not a public meeting, which is why we have specific times when people can speak up and ask questions. We relax that a little bit more during budget season so that people can ask questions while Zach and Joanne and Shannon are doing those presentations, because it makes sense for those areas. But just because we are having a discussion on something doesn't mean that the audience can pipe up and join in on that too. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there is more to it, but that's it in a nutshell.
So it would be, I don't know, you may know this, but there's a state training for
Yes.
ex officio, and there's a regional session also, and then we're gonna do the state session virtually coming up in very soon, next week, right? And both our members are going to come, so that's exciting. And then also on the 24th, you have that Brumtaga,
She's going for me,
okay.
because I'll be away.
But I think they're inviting anybody who wants to come because they're gonna talk about BOCES services and take a tour of the BOCES facility. So if anybody's interested in any of that, they're inviting any board members and actually administrators, particularly new administrators or soon-to-be administrators, if you want to learn about BOCES services and that you're welcome to attend that also. The 24th.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to the one on the 17th though, all right? Or the 17th or the 18th?
The one I'm going to is the legislative.
Legislation,
Okay.
yeah, you're going to the legislation
Okay.
one, so let's talk for a quick second before you leave.
Okay.
So this is a different one then?
Yeah, the 24th is a
Oh.
different one.
Okay.
24th is for open board members.
Did you
Yeah.
get that, Stacy? That one, the 24th?
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing that.
Wait, that is fun.
That's a Wednesday, the 24th.
the 24th is a Wednesday. It's a totally different one.
Oh.
It's like one of those regular trainings
Okay,
for board members.
so can I?
But it's open to anybody.
Stacey?
I'll send this to you.
I have it, yeah. That one I have, and that one I might be making, but it's the one on this 18th, I believe, that you're going for me.
Yeah, the 18th.
Yes, yeah.
And that's not the.
No. 24th is totally different. You're welcome to go with her on the 18th if you want to see what's going on. It's a little bit weird, but.
Where is it?
In both seasons.
Oh, okay. Where is it?
It's how to vote and how we vote, and you go through all it can get to be a long meeting sometimes.
Yeah, but that's.
It is fun, yeah. I find it fun, but.
That's Thursday. the 18th.
And you get supper. Is that all?
Do any of the other board members have something they'd
I
like
have one
to?
more thing.
Well, something just quick. I don't know if it's just me, I think the term ex officio sounds negative.
That's what the state has.
I know, but I mean, officially we can say it, but I think, I don't know.
Just-
To
I
me,
think,
a
I
student
think it's
member-
nice,
Yes,
yeah, student member
I don't know,
sounds.
X, anything X doesn't sound good. It's like, it's like, it's not anymore. It's like, I get it, but it doesn't.
It just means they can't vote, that's all. it
And it's
means.
nothing personal to anybody, but that title to me, every time it's said, it just kind of gives me a little. negative-
Twinge.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's all it
Yeah,
means, they can't.
There's a lot of things in politics that I don't want, give me bigger twinges, but then.
No,
Is that
I do agree with you, Tom.
negative?
Personally, myself, I would prefer to use student member.
How does it make you feel?
Okay.
Right, but
Yes,
the
fair.
thing is, if somebody doesn't know what ex officio means, it can have some negative connotations, so. But it's up to each individual how they would like to approach that.
I have a card here. Michelle Noyes, she's the board president at Windsor, right? Her husband died last week, 55 years old, very sudden. So, she's one of ours, she's one of our board communities, she also serves on the BOCES board. So I thought it'd be nice if we could just sign a card and send to her. If you don't want to sign it, that's fine, but I thought I'd bring one and pass it to her. Yeah, it was quite a surprise.
Do we, is there anything else from any other board members? Speak now, forever hold your peace until the next meeting.
Not forever, but.
Yeah, I said until the next meeting.
Anything else?
Yes.
Just if, and maybe this is still up for discussion, but if there's going to be a separate place for the student member to report. If at some point I can know where on the schedule we'd like that to be.
Yeah, that's actually in the goal to make that, but so let's make it
And
happen.
I did talk with some of the other district clerks locally, and most of them do have a report section. Some of them said that they also sometimes let them, take the reins on the report, and then sometimes they let them give them a topic to report back on for, the next meeting or something like that. So just something to think about.
Would it make sense if we inserted that somewhere around the superintendent's update and the Board of Education comments?
Do you want it earlier, just in case a meeting goes long?
Yeah, because
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
What if we do it between commendations and old business?
That seems like a practical spot.
First comments.
Hmm?
It's better be after the first
Okay,
comments from the
okay.
public. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah, it'd be.
yeah,
there's
yes,
comments
you're right,
from
the first
public,
public
yeah.
comment.
So at least it could,
And then accommodations, and then maybe the student voice
Mhm.
before old business. Or it could come after old business before presentations, either spot would be good, yeah.
Does that sound good, Stacy?
After commendation.
After commendations, yeah.
Yep.
Because it would kind of flow, you know, it would flow into there.
If we're starting that next week, should I get like a little report ready or not next week, next meeting?
Next meeting.
Will you be the representative, or will you work with the other one to do it?
Yeah.
So one of you could do
I'll
it.
just have Billy come in, she'll get it cold, we'll just throw it on.
Spray the fire. Yeah.
Well, but for things like that, for things like that, you guys, I think you should work together on it because you're each gonna want to know what the other said and did, and so it should be a collaborative effort. Go ahead.
I just was gonna follow up with Stacy's comment.
Mhm.
She said that sometimes the board helps them a little bit. You're gonna be taking the training, so we would love to have an update on the training. Maybe that would help you give us one thing. Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
We're also gonna be meeting to discuss the other people who applied are interested in contributing in some way, and we talked about having like an advisory council to make sure. So you know, that our two members aren't gonna be just flying solo, they'll sort of making sure that we're really kind of tapping into what's going on with the student body and. Okay.
Yeah, and if you or Billy have any suggestions, we would enjoy hearing. We're all feeling our way through this. So if you have suggestions for what you would like to do, please let us know.
I personally think the students should be in charge of the whole thing. Like, we shouldn't be dictating what they
Right.
want to report on. So
Right.
I'm all for that. I think that's my opinion. That's the way to go.
But to get them started, having them do a report on the training,
Oh,
so,
yeah,
yeah, so,
Definitely
yeah.
for the first, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That would be my idea.
Break the ice.
yeah, I
Break
agree.
the ice.
And it would be good for us too, so we would know going forward what they had been trained on and
Right.
all of that.
They inviting board members to that training?
It doesn't seem like it. I'm inviting myself. I wasn't even really.
Find out if we're recording it, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Cause I know that Mark had thought about trying to run one down in BOCES, then he knew the state was doing it, so he thought it'd be great to see what happens.
Yeah.
I guess I just had one more comment.
Yep.
Again, it's gonna show my age. With the student members now, it just, I don't know, made me a little uncomfortable. Directing stuff and saying Joanne. I don't know, like with a superintendent, I don't know. I'm not saying it anyway, it just, again, gave a little weird feeling. I know when my girls were in school, people would say some of the teachers' first names. I didn't know their first names because we never, ever. To this day, I don't know some of their names. It's like that we always referred to
I know.
children with first names, not first names, always last name, but it just, as a board member, it just. Especially if we're talking to teachers or other staff and they're using it crosses a line with me that makes me uncomfortable. I know it might not, but it just. It gave me a little tinge of interest again too, so I guess I'm very tingy today. Just my own observation, it doesn't have to have anything done with it, but.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can I understand what you would like, Tom, a little bit better, so.
It's not what I would like, I was always brought up that, so a student in the school addressing, it's just.
Do you feel
I
like
don't
us
know.
calling her Joanne is
No,
encouraging?
no,
her?
That's what I was wondering.
No, and there were some discussions and then it was saying something, it was like, Joe, like, it was kind of a. I know there shouldn't be two levels, I'm just saying that it just kind of was a. I know when I go into school, some of my peer, people I work with use their first name. They're like, I've been going to schools for 40 years. I don't know any teachers ever go by Mr. First name, Miss
Yeah.
last first name. And it just
Mhm.
You just expect the students to be respectful and be.
kind of, and I didn't want to make anybody else. It's just my own observation. I'm not saying it has to be changed. It was just something that I noticed. It's a little different, so.
No, I think that's perfectly reasonable and
I think there's probably a lot of things that are gonna come up that we're gonna think, it's a little.
Yeah.
different Now, yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you, presenting was a little bit different, and I looked and I was like, oh, that's right, I have a student in the room who's on board listening, yes.
and I don't mean it has to be addressed. It's just something that came
Mhm.
about. So when things come about, it just. And just to be respectful to everybody. If it makes a student uncomfortable.
This is just a suggestion, we do this at the college and it might work, is we let the students know what we would like to be addressed.
Mhm.
So if I don't mind being called Mrs. Whittle or Dr. Whittle, that's perfectly fine with me. By my students, I tell them once they've graduated, they can call me Chris, so. But, so maybe that's something we could help the students reps with understanding how, maybe that'd be helpful, I'm not sure.
You can call them Aubrey.
Yeah. I'm fine being called Chris, Dr. Whittle, or Mrs. Whittle in this situation.
I just meant.
My students is
For
totally
us, I
different.
just meant in school, because coming from
Yeah.
here, then
Yeah.
going back to school, that's a totally different
Right.
dynamic.
Yeah.
That's the part.
Yep.
And when I
No.
go to elementary,
Yeah.
I didn't mean from me, I meant.
Mhm.
And like I said, if teachers are here and then the first names are being used or athletic directors and we tend to use first names a lot, it just.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right.
no, it is something that we need to be aware of and something else that we need to,
Professionally growing. Yep.
yeah.
Thank you, Chris, for doing.
I just believe it when I heard that. It was like, oh my.
So do we need an executive session? Okay. Then I propose that we end our meeting at 7:35. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. On a second. Thank you, Betty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained?
It's one of the shortest meetings you will ever sit.
Yeah.
And thank you, everybody who came. We appreciate it.
Thank you for a good school year start.
Yep.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
They will give you, he already knows I want to be out.